Coach, I hear you? I heard you called a magical Monday this morning, so let's go. That sounds good to me.
Every Monday's magical Monday. I got my Syracuse orange shirt on. Come on now.
Good. I like the vibe. There you are. That's a nice little sweater thing you got going. It's like modern and vintage. I like the vibe you're slinging there. So. Tough week for you on the court. Obviously, you were playing two really good teams here in Carolina and Duke. What's a game like that yesterday? I mean, you just never found traction, right? Like that's got to be tough to go through.
The North Carolina game or the Duke game?
The Duke game yesterday. Like it was just like you could never quite get a grasp on it. It felt like.
And we never got a grasp on it. And it's hard to play. It's definitely a different gym than the Dome. We try to practice it in Mellow to try to emulate what it looked like, but we just couldn't figure it out. Their defense is great. They're ranked number 11th in the country for a reason. They're good. He's a great coach, and at the end of the day, you got to raise your hand when you got your tail beat, and we got a tail beat, and we're going to get better for it.
No, so hey, sometimes when you're playing one of the top teams in the country, that is the way it goes down, and then. It was kind of the opposite, right, on Thursday against Carolina in the Dome. For the last, 2.5, 3 quarters, you were there with them. But I think the word you used on Thursday after the game is you started the game playing with fear, I think was the word you used. How tough is that when you're like, man, I know we can play with this team, but we didn't show. You gotta do it for 40 minutes, right?
Yeah, we started off both the games with this idea that we were going to be ready. And then we started playing, the name a little bit, and I don't know how you get out of that a little bit, but we got out of it a little bit faster against Duke. But at the end of the day, Duke was just their defense. This was relentless. Their pressing was relentless. In the first half against North Carolina, it just continued for the entire half. In the second half, we got in the locker room, talked about some things, and we tied them in the second half. But the first half, we put ourselves in the hole, and that's the nature of this game. That's one thing about this game called basketball. It's a microcosm of life, meaning that how you attack things in your mind is different sometimes as what you do when you actually come out as a result of how you perform. And you got to accept it. There's a lot of ways you can do it. You can excuse it away. You can say, well, what about this? And did you see us do that? Or you can just raise your hand and say, these are lessons that we're going to learn. There's some things we won against that North Carolina game, and we learned. But against the Duke game, we just learned a whole bunch of lessons.
Yeah, they were big teachers on Sunday, but bigger than you would have liked to deal with in that game. As we got Coach Jack with us on a Monday, as always, brought to you by Matthews Nissan and Matthews Kia of Clay. And it leads into this Thursday, and this is now unique to this year, right, Coach, where this is the first year you actually have to qualify for the conference tournament. In the past, no matter how the season went, you went. That's not the case this year, and it looks like it's a win-in-you're-in game on Thursday. Is that something you're going to talk to the team about? Let it to the side? How do you handle the situation with the conference tournament on the line this week?
No, it is, we've never had it qualified before. I think that we had 2 amazing years here thus far. We, 21 seasons back-to-back years, and so average 22 wins a season. And so I think that we're going to go and continue the season as we have been, like with just a lot of preparation. We've already watched film as a staff all day, even though today is a day off. And we already got some ideas on what we got to work on. We also understand that Pittsburgh is coming off a great win, and they are a team that's, fighting for the same thing we're fighting for as well, an opportunity to continue to play longer and continue to create that sisterhood through this game of basketball. And it's what team is going to be ready? What team is going to just zip it down, put it in, and zip it up, and that's your heart. Who's going to play with heart? Who's going to play with fire? Who's going to play with fight? I know that's what we're coaching up. That's what we talk about all the time. That's who I am as a person. It's up for those 5 young ladies that come out there and create energy and lock into the synergy and do it for 40 minutes. And we do things like that, we can have a chance.
And yeah, that'll be 7 o'clock this Thursday in the Dome. Your last 2 games here of the regular season are in the Dome with Pitt and BC. So, last chance for the seniors to do it, and Senior Day coming up this weekend. What are the emotions like for you when you send a group of players out like that?
Ready. That's what my emotions are always. It's ready. They're ready. They've done their job. They've done the work. I know that we've prepared every single day in practice. I know that we've taught life lessons every single day. I know that we have prepared our young people for our CAB, which is character, as always supersedes academics, and academics always supersedes basketball. I know that we're a great basketball coaching staff, and we teach at a high octane and at a high level. And I know that these young ladies are going to have this game, and it's going to come to a last game eventually. It could be next Sunday. It could be longer. Who knows? But more important than the game or the ball bouncing, it's going to be about the lessons they learned through the meetings that we had in our locker room, on the bus, the songs that we sang, the things that we taught, the prayers that we prayed, the injuries that we had, the things that we've overcome. All that is going to go with these seniors, and they're going to all be prepared for the thing that we call life, the most important thing I think that we're teaching as coaches.
Who do we got this year? Georgia Woolley, Sanaya Wilson, Kyra Wood, Dominique Camp, Isabel Verjo. Did I hear you say Lexi McNabb too will probably be involved on Sunday? So you got a big group out there.
Yeah, we have a big group, and I think that it's going to be a fun group, and I think that we do it after the game. We don't ever do the senior day, because no matter what, no matter how I try to spin it, you're going to still have an emotional moment, and so we try to keep that emotion locked in until the game ends. And so we'll do a celebration for all of them after the game's over, and hopefully we'll have some success prior to that.
Yeah, that's always tough, right? Because, some teams do it before the game, right? And you get lost in the emotion, and you can come out slow, or then sometimes you don't want to do it after you've lost a game, right? Like, it's there's not a great option either way. Sometimes it feels like.
It's not. I did it one time when I was at Buffalo, and our young lady just cried and got emotional and couldn't find the floor, let alone the hoop. Just couldn't even put the ball to the floor. And I said, nope, we're not doing that anymore. We're going to have it after. And so I think it's worked better this way. And even after the game, whether you win and learn or you actually score more points than the opponent, at the end of it, it's just a better situation, in my opinion.
Coach Jack is with us, and this is something you've been open about, looking forward to happening here, but John Wildhack kind of made it finally official this past Thursday that whenever this house settlement deal happens, that Syracuse is going to fully fund that 20-some-odd million for players out of the athletic department. What can that do for your program going forward this year, Coach, when you look at portal, when you look at recruiting and putting together your roster for next year?
This is uncomfortable for everybody, for sure, but I am so humbled that, our RAD sees our women's basketball program as a viable situation, a viable sport, and we're going to be equipped to go after any kid in the country with the premise of getting her. We already have the best school in the country. We're a global school. Everybody knows us all over the world. We're a very, very strong academic school. We're compared to the Ivy schools in some categories. And we got a great coaching staff. I think I'm pretty good as well. Year 37. I think that I pour out to my players and I pour into them to hope that they can become a better steward of this world. And one thing that we couldn't do is, be equivalent to the financial piece. And in the last couple of years, and we have stepped up the plate, and we have been aggressive. We've already gotten great news in the women's basketball category thus far. We are definitely excited about when this portal really opens, how strongly we can play this game, and it's just a situation I don't like to do, but you know what? When you go out there and you see that those other teams, they're so more prepared, talent-wise. Guess what? We can be equal talent-wise with all that we have to offer to. Oh, game on.
Coach, how much does this change recruiting, like the way you like to do it, right? Because you like to talk about life and the lessons and all this stuff, and the money side of it can be very transactional, right? It's so different. How does that affect the way you like to relate to these players that you recruit?
I do a lot of things with this thing called heart, and I think that it's important that you pour into young people from 17 to 22 years old and give them your whole heart. And when you have to deal with things as transactional as the way it is right now, it's more of a communication, a business transaction, if you will, and you got to get it done fast because 9 times out of 10, you're going to have a young lady for maybe a year or two. And I'm used to getting someone like a Deasia Fairseer, Dilla, Stephanie Reed, and those kind of young ladies who play for me. And the lessons you taught back then is gradually builds up into the culmination of what we did and in the fourth year. And that's, Sweet 16, that's NCAA high level, that's degrees from great institutions. And now you just got to play it by ear and give them what you have to give them. You got to say it fast. Thank God I talk fast anyway, because you got to say it fast. You got to make them. And my hope is that I can still, win games and make this community proud of what we're doing, but also impact these young people's lives, because that's what I really do it for, is to be an impactful person in young people's lives, and hope that when their brain is fully developed at age 25, that they got this foundation that they believe that they're going to be phenomenal women.
All right. Before we let you go, Coach, you mentioned at the beginning, the chat is loving your sweater right now. Your high compliments. Some want to go to the store and buy this thing. Do you got a hood on there? What do we got cooking? Is that a straight sweater?
No, I can't. And I'm not telling you where I got it from, because it's too, if I tell you, I got to shoot you. And I don't want to do that. No. And of course, you don't want to give out something that, when it's NIL season, we got to get money for our athletes. So in order to find out, you got to pay the dough.
Okay,
I got it from Dick's, okay?
I thought there was going to be a cost of admission. There we go. No, we got it out of you, Coach. Go to Dick's. It's a nice looking sweater. We like it. All right, Coach. Thanks as always for joining us. Best of luck this week in making the ACC tournament. And I'm sure a lot of people will be out at Wegmans tonight for your show at 7. But thanks as always.
Oh, you're welcome. Let's go Orange.
There we are, Coach Jack with the great sweater. We like that. Go check her and Tim out. Wegmans Burger Bar, DeWitt, tonight, 7 o'clock for the Coach Jack Show. And we'll find out by Sunday night, maybe by Thursday night, if the women are on to Greensboro for this year's ACC Women's Basketball Tournament. With that, we will take a break. We have Mike in here, do a little 411 next, right here on Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.